Well, you wanted it, you got it. Welcome to Above the Yellow Line Live. I'm Dom Joseph with Adam Lucas. This is going to be the not so ordinary live stream tonight. We've got Taylor in Daytona Beach right now covering what is going to be happening in about an hour. NASCAR Cup Series Busch Light pole qualifying for the Daytona 500. And she has left us in charge. And this is, yeah, go ahead. Let's get it
Welcome
started right
to
out of
the
the gate.
Bushcast.
You know what most of the agenda is tonight, but now to be serious, we've got a lot to go over tonight. We've got NASCAR news. We've got, of course, our plea for the Busch Series to come back. And then, I mean, it's Daytona Speed Week. So we've got a lot of 500 coverage to go into and some stats and whatnot. So pumped that Taylor gave us the opportunity and trusts us with this. So, yeah, the show is broken already. Yes.
Buckle up, everybody. Here we
Yeah,
go.
we are well underway.
The
But
Thunderdome has been unleashed.
yes, Adam, how are we doing tonight on what is just going to be a spectacular hour of craziness?
There's a lot of love in this room tonight. There's a lot of love. I'm just going to vibe the whole time.
Well, listen, I mean, we've been pushing this off for years. And I think it's just because we knew if it ever came down to this, Taylor likely wouldn't be on the stream. It would be one of those, hey, we've got no news, we've got no updates, just have at it. So,
Yep.
yeah, no, happy to be here. But I guess let's just go ahead and start with what we've got for Daytona. This week, it used to be weeks, but this week is just so special and it means so much. Adam, I'll ask you this first and then I'll go. The first memory you have of Daytona Speed Weeks, what is it?
Ooh. Well, it was at the end of Speed Weeks, pardon me, 1998. It was the first ever NASCAR race I had watched on television, and it was when I spotted the ever wonderful the large collection that is over my shoulder, the Rainbow Warrior number 24 DuPont Chevrolet. Caught my eye, told my dad, "Daddy, I want that car." Next day, went and bought it at the store, and it's been a love affair ever since. So seeing Gordon's car in the 98 500, even though he didn't win, that was Dale's race. I get it, but that was the race I fell in love with NASCAR. So truly, that's the catalyst of everything behind me and in my life.
Yeah. It's honestly kind of the same, but in the sense of I didn't pick my favorite driver, but like it all started with Daytona and it's these two cars right here, the first and second for 2004, Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart. Those were the first two cars I ever saw on a racetrack. It was on TV. I was at a church event that my parents were cooking for. So, yeah, it was just so special to think back on. That's how it all started. And to think I watched a very historic moment in NASCAR, not even knowing it. But I just remember seeing a white and red Budweiser car and then a bright orange Home Depot car. And I was sold from there. And then the next year, Jeff Gordon won the 500 with the red deck lid wonder. And I was chasing that.
Got away.
I was chasing that. Don't you start with me. I was chasing that diecast for so many years. Finally got it. But no, listen, I owe one to you. I'm going to get it for you eventually. I feel so bad about that.
It's okay because I ended up sneaking a car that you wanted that was right next to it. While you were basking in the red deck lid, I did get the Pepsi $1 billion car.
Yeah.
So it was worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Speed Week memories. Yeah, it's more condensed now. I remember vividly preseason Thunder in January, followed by the week-long buildup with numerous practice sessions and shakedowns and different under series. Found there's someone posted on X, I think the other day, of how the schedule 4 speed weeks has grown smaller and tighter and smaller and tighter, and there's less and less activities
Mhm.
that happen with it. So it was kind of interesting to see how much we've even fallen since 2004, because I think 2004 was a part of that graphic. And I know that's now 21 years ago. Hard to believe, but yeah, time flies when you're racing.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we've already done a lot on this on the Clash and whatnot, what it used to be. But I'm looking at a car that was sitting in this case a moment ago before I put the Daytona cars in, and it's the Bud Shootout car from 2012. And it's like I go back to that one all the time, the Kyle Busch car. That race saved my NASCAR fandom. I saw how 2011 ended, and was like, let me try watching every race this year. And if it's something I enjoy, we'll keep watching. If it's not, I can I can commit to Ohio State football and not watch racing anymore. I'll survive. And then the Bud Shootout happened, and what a race! That was 75 laps of chaos.
It's
So
pure chaos, and it also there's another historical part to that race that a lot of people don't realize. That was the first time Jeff
yes,
Gordon had a blowover in a cup race.
the first and I believe the only time he ever
I think
flipped
so,
in a
yeah.
cup car. I don't think he ever got on his lid after that. So, um,
That's why he's in the Hall of Fame.
hey,
All the Gordon haters, hey, look, that's why he's in it. 93
I
wins
don't
right
think
there.
I don't think the blowover in the shootout is what got him in there, Adam.
No, no. The
Well,
fact
let's
that he didn't have them.
right, precisely. So we could go ahead and go into some news now. First things first, we had a Cup Series practice today. Started at 10 o'clock this morning. It was an hour-long session, and Mike Joy, Kevin Harvick, and Clint Boyer on Fox were very good at reminding the folks watching that don't put a lot of stock into this practice sessions, lap times, and whatnot, because you're going to have guys doing single car runs. You're going to have guys trying the draft. You're not going to know anything from this session, really. This is more so to make sure we don't have what did happen in previous years where someone goes out, no practice to qualify their car for the Daytona 500, and they have a mechanical failure. And it's like, well, if we had practice, we could have stopped this. And I got to tell you, Adam, I know you were telling me before you didn't catch it, but thank goodness we had that hour-long session because Brad Keselowski, Ryan Preece, just to name two off the bat, were ones that got out onto the track and immediately started seeing some smoke come out from the right front. And
Mm.
Brad Keselowski told Regan Smith it was a steering issue, and they were able to resolve that and then shake down the car in practice, and now they're ready to qualify tonight. So, first of all, get your reaction to that of having practice again before qualifying.
I, I've been preaching for it ever since after COVID. Yeah, practice leads to a better product, in my opinion. I think it leads to
100%.
less issues with like you said, they found an issue during this time that could have drastically affected their run tonight for the pole, or it could have destroyed their car tonight, which leading to a backup car. That's another great unknown. Most backup cars never see the light of day now, with how compact everything is with the cup car. I also noticed I was looking at the practice sheet that the
Mhm.
two of the three Spire cars did not even go on the track. So
Correct.
I find that a little interesting, just because we're giving you this time to shake out any rust, bugs, problems mechanically. So kind of a bold strategy, if you
Yeah,
ask me.
Mike Joy said that was a calculated risk
Yeah.
by the Spire Motorsports team, and it was Carson Hocevar, the lone car to go out there and log laps. And I guess Michael McDowell and Justin Haley's teams were saying, we'll just pull your data and see if we can translate that into our car. But yeah, definitely a calculated risk. I think if you've got the practice laps, you got to use it just to prevent any sort of
Mhm.
disaster.
Yeah.
But the fastest car was Denny Hamlin driving the number 11 not FedEx Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. It's National Debt Relief this year. It just
God,
didn't
it
even
hurts.
it didn't even look real on the track, and just it hurt. It really
Yeah.
hurt.
FedEx not in NASCAR is just not right.
I
It's
mean,
it's so odd.
since 2005.
Yeah.
So we all,
Very
I mean,
awesome.
we made it 20 years. So that's pretty special. But yeah, I noticed the one thing that was kind of funny. William Byron went out and just did a shakedown 2 laps, and then they were interviewing him after, and he's pretty much told Regan they were done for the day. They were just gonna do whatever work they needed to on the car and just get it ready for qualifying. And then, sure enough, he was back out on the track. So I thought it was kind of funny, just the itch to keep practicing.
It,
Um,
it's one of those classic cases of, yeah, get that mic out of my face. We got real stuff we got to work on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, honestly. But yeah, it was Denny Hamlin, and then I saw, yeah, Haberinas. That is correct. Kyle Busch was P3 in practice, but I don't know. Yeah, so Denny's lap time came off of the draft, and I'm pretty sure when Kyle did his lap, he got a really good toe off of Keselowski. So that was what resulted in their lap times. And then yeah, we've got Elio and SVG. They were in the top 20. So far so good for Trackhouse racing. We've got Elio Castroneves, 4-time Indianapolis 500 champion. In any way, shape, or form, is going to be in the Daytona 500. Um, so let me ask you this: how do you think he gets in? Is it on the provisional? Is it on qualifying speed, or is it in the duel?
Phew. I know I voiced my thoughts on this earlier because I want to have the max amount of cars you can have, and this year we can have 41. So I hope Elio is slow tonight, and I hope he's cautious in the duels tomorrow night. So I'm hoping that they play the ultra conservative ball tonight and tomorrow, just knowing that, hey, we can fall back on that provisional. Let's get some drafting practice tomorrow night, save our equipment, and then they're really in a catbird seat when it comes to all that. They literally have a they have 60 laps to test the car tomorrow night, which is
Yeah,
fantastic. So
honestly.
yeah, I hope he does not get in on speed. I hope he has to use the provisional just so we can get this loaded field that we already have for Daytona. It feels like the 2000s are back again with the expanded entry list. So
Right.
that's something I love to see, that the sport is healthy enough to have all these entries for this race.
And then one more thing on practice, and then we can move on. And I think this is just the coolest thing. And it was as soon as teams were allowed to unload, as soon as the garage was open, who was down there helping unload his own car? It was Dale Earnhardt Jr. Helping the team unload. And Regan was saying during practice, he was crawling all over that race car, just trying to be as hands on as possible during practice. And like, yeah, it brings a tear to my eye. It's like Dale.
It's something you don't see a lot these days, but also knowing just the story of junior motorsports before it was junior motorsports, it was Chance too, and just seeing where they've come, being a two-time back-to-back Busch Series champion. Look right there, yep, 2004, right there.
It's a beauty.
So yeah, just to see where they've come to this moment, it's super special. So I really hope they get in. I hope they get in on speed tonight.
Yeah, I think too. And they're getting their assistance from Hendrick Motorsports. So, and it really doesn't matter who it is. I'm sure Rick Hendrick has a good enough relationship with who it is. He's going to give them reliable stuff, but it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. I'm
Yeah,
sure Rick is considering that 40 car as a fifth Hendrick entry and is going to want to do as much as he can to help that team. But it's just so cool to see how tough this team is going in there. Just no one really expects them to be competitive, but they're treating it, man, like it's the 90s.
yeah.
I just have a thought, and you've seen this so many times where Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace are the two prime candidates where they will get out of their own car and then grab a hammer and start working on their own car. And it's like I feel like Dale Jr. still got that in him, where it's like, I mean, he may not be driving it, but like give me a tool. Let me help work on this thing. I know
This
it's
is my baby. I got to get this thing running perfect.
yeah. And it's a good looking car too.
It is. It's a fantastic looking car. Hopefully
Yeah.
it's fast. Hopefully it's fast. Either tonight or tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Preferably tonight. Preferably
Yeah.
tonight.
Just
Top
get
two.
all the
Top two make it so that there's a lot of push tonight for that.
yeah. So this is the first time since what 2003 2013, right? That we've had a Earnhardt affiliated car in the 500 because it was Earnhardt
I think so.
Ganassi through 2013.
Yes. So this is the
So,
first one since.
and I mean, if we want to be like super direct on it, where it was just Earnhardt, DEI's last year was 2008. So,
God, I can't
um,
believe it's been that long.
I know, right? It's crazy.
Feels like
Um,
yesterday.
but yes, so we've come a long way. We've waited a long time for it, but it's here. Speed Weeks is here. We've got junior cars back. We've got Earnhardt cars in the 500. This is just so cool. But I think we know where we're going now, and it's about the Saturday race and what the premier partner of that, the entitlement partner of that series should be next year, and why the Daytona race should also be the Hershey's Kisses 300 next year.
The GNC Live Well 300.
GNC, my
Oh
gosh.
my goodness. I
Listen,
think it was I think it was GNC Live Well, and then it was Coolers, then Hershey Kisses. Yeah.
then Camping World, right? Or Orbits. It was Orbits for 1 year,
Orbits.
and then it was
Orbits
Camping
too.
World.
Yep.
Listen, I got into the Busch Series way too early. I got in when it was nationwide, so I grew up on the
Oh,
Drive for COPD 300.
oh, oof.
But I will
You
say, I did watch when Tony Stewart won the photo finish in 2011 in an Oreo car, and
that and that car was hot.
that was a I'm like I'm still like trying to justify getting that car. If anything, I'll get the 164 of it. I don't know if I'd get the race version, but it's just
Mhm.
such a good looking race car.
It is nice. All those Oreo Ritz cars were just hot.
But let's just lay it out there now.
Sh do
W-
we need to
I mean,
yet
I
or
feel like I don't know if we need to because we're repping the
we
brand
are repping the
in the
brand. We
front.
gotta keep the drip going.
And like, Taylor wasn't on this to begin with and didn't drop out of the stream, so there's no reason to go off the rails when this is literally on the script for today's show.
It's a scripted off-road venture tonight.
Suddenly, there's no excitement in this.
100%.
um, but yeah, let's just dive into it. What is your pitch on why it should be the Bush series or the Bush Light series, whatever?
If we really wanna make America great again, we bring back Bush.
Oh my god!
I said
What?
it. I don't care what your beliefs are, whatnot. If you bring back Bush, that will truly make America great again.
Listen, I think if I've said this before, Craftsman can come back, Bush can come back.
Yes.
They seem like they're doing really well in the sport. I think they are a premier partner of the Cup Series right now. They're very committed to Chastain. Um, it makes so much sense. It's just, are they willing to spend that extra dollar? But I think they should. I think they should. Listen, here's not only should we bring the Bush series back, bring the Gen 4 steel bodies back.
Bring back MSRP Motorsports.
Oh my
Bring
god.
back Blueco Motorsports.
Was the 36 GNC car a Bush car?
Yes, yes.
That was,
That
yeah,
was
Hank Parker.
that was Hank Parker Jr.,
Yeah, that was a
son
Bush
of a
car.
fisherman.
I think that was my first Bush Series diecast, and I think it was like a hand me down. Someone's like, "Hey, I've got Matchbox cars. Do you want this?" I feel like everyone that collects diecasts has had the GNC Hank Parker car at some point.
I I actually have two of them. I have the Chevy version, and then I have the Dodge one as
Oh my
well.
god.
Yes. The Dodge one was hot. That car was hot.
So, what's I can ask you this because you actually did watch it. What's your favorite Bush Series memory that you
Mm.
have, or do you have a favorite race from when it was the Bush Series?
2004 was a really good year because watching Truex really just rise up and grab the series by the knuckles and just go with it.
Yeah.
When I mean, obviously the Bristol race he won, watching him win the final race at Nazareth Speedway, there's a flashback for you.
Wow.
Yeah, just
Shout out Chase for the cup. Bad Nazareth.
just remembering the old schedule really is a memory that I have when they would have the one-off races during the summertime, and just the lure of it, of the cup guys, they would run their Sunday car, do practice and qualifying, and then they'd jump in a Busch car, and they would just go. Some of the best races from the Busch Series were at Charlotte. Like the entry list would be 43 cars, and 30 of those would be Cup guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know bushwhacking, whatever, but it was just something. It was, you had to be there. You had to be there.
Yeah.
So
Looking
yeah, that
here.
early 2000s vibe for the Busch Series really brings it home for me.
See, looking back at pictures and whatnot, especially of Earnhardt, the one thing during the 90s, aside from Mark Martin, who drove the 60 Winn-Dixie car, it seemed like if there was a cup guy in the field, he was running exactly what his cup car looked like.
Mhm,
Like Earnhardt drove the GM Goodwrench Chevy number 3 in the Busch Series too,
mhm.
which if that diecast ever gets made, creme de la creme.
Yes. Not the 8,
um,
but the 3.
the 8, the 3.
Yeah.
But like I think that was the one thing, especially like with Chase for the Cup and well, for me personally, Chase for the Cup and the NASCAR '08, having those games that had the Busch Series in there, and then you're so used to seeing what's a good example, like the Budweiser 8, the red number 8, each and every weekend. Then you get this game, and then there's a blue Oreo 8, and I was like, I didn't even know this existed. What is this thing? This is so cool. And then you have Kevin Harvick, who you associate with the Goodwrench 29. And then Kevin Harvick drives the Reese's 21. What is in First of all, this car is gorgeous. Second of all, when does he drive this thing?
Yeah.
So I think it was so cool to see that these guys had cars, honestly, it looked just like a cup car, but the design was a polar opposite to what they drove on Sunday. And I think that was one of the big attractions for me. Was just like seeing literally like the Busch Series was like alternate universe cup racing. Is really this is a good point. This is the collab we need this year.
Oh, now
But
that would be a cool car.
yeah, you thought Haas and Monster Energy went well together.
Thought Haas and Andy's custard car was hot. Wait till you get a hand of this. Yeah, I agree with it being almost like a multiverse level theory of, oh, this is what it would look like in a different series. Well, here's your
Right,
thing. And like how Jimmy Johnson was god awful terrible in the 48 in the Busch series, but come
yeah,
Sunday, lights out.
right. It's like
Different story, different animal.
how
Yeah.
does it make sense?
Yes. Their cars look identical minus
Right.
one decal. Yet he stinks here and he's great here. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's what
and
just made the Busch series interesting.
right, and, obviously, like, there when you watch the Dale Jr. download, whenever they have a guest on the show, and it's normally someone of NASCAR's history, who has been around the sport for a while, they always, like, have to stop themselves from calling it the Busch Series and say Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
It's like it has never gone away. It's always been Busch Grand National, and again, like, I agree with you too, regardless of who gets the entitlement, Grand National needs to be brought back.
Yes.
Like, give this series a title. We have the Cup Series, we have the Truck Series, and then Xfinity Series. It doesn't, and it makes it, honestly, for me too, like when I'm chatting with folks in family or family friends who don't watch NASCAR, and I try to explain the series, there's really no good way of explaining what Xfinity is, other than my easy one is trying to do baseball. And it's like, well, the Cup Series is the major leagues, and then AAA is Xfinity, Double A is the truck, and Single A is ARCA. But God, is ARCA Single A. But
it might be high A or low A.
yeah, honestly,
Lower.
yeah, you're looking at the New York Penn League.
Yeah, oh my.
But
The College
yeah,
Summer Wood Bat League.
yeah, right.
Yeah, that's some good baseball, though. Don't get me wrong. Those are some good games.
20-cent dog night. You get a crowd of 200 for the
Yeah.
game.
I'm sure me and my stepdad will be hitting up some of that this year.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it.
No, absolutely not.
We're
It's a
just
good
talking
old time.
we're talking about the final undercard to the main event.
Yeah.
Normally, like, the
I
fights get better and
totally
better and
agree.
better. So,
Grand National, the year sponsor here, Grand National Series.
yeah,
It makes sense.
absolutely.
But it should be
Um,
Bush.
it should be Bush. Get Buick to sponsor the Grand National Series? I don't know about that. I don't know if
Buick would have
we'll
to make
see
a
it
car.
if it yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
What was their most recent um sedan or whatever? Because they had was it the
Yeah, they
Regal?
have they have cars. They're like a mid-brand between
Do
a
we want the Buick Regal back in NASCAR?
heck, let's get
I
Oldsmobiles
mean,
back.
listen, if Cadillac's gonna come, we should just have a series for Cadillac and Buick.
Have like
Cadillac, Buick, and Lincoln.
yeah, the mid-tier. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We can get listen, we're workshopping all this.
Yeah, hey, hey, if you guys got ideas, just put it in the chat.
Yes.
We'll put them in the chat and we'll debate it.
Yeah, I'd like to see what other ideas, people in the chat have for possible brands, that
Oh
could
yeah.
take on the premiere. I mean, obviously, everyone's pointing at Bush right now because
I
they just want the nostalgia back.
I might have another one.
What you got?
This one might, I don't know, this one might offend some people or make them feel happy.
Bucky's.
The Bucky's Grand National Series. Let's bring it.
The Bucky's Grand Tour. That would just be outrageous. It would be only short tracks.
Yeah.
It would be
Guaranteed checkers or wreckers.
yeah, it would be their schedule would be Martinsville, North Wilkesboro, Bristol, Talladega, Daytona, Atlanta. Just absolute chaos races.
It's some random dirt track somewhere in the South. Yes.
And then New Smyrna is the championship race.
Yeah, New Smyrna could be the championship race.
No heats, 40 cars, all on the grid.
Yep. Last man
It's up to you
standing.
to
If you got
qualify
a
well.
pit, you're out.
It's up to you to qualify well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to share pits. It's like how bad do you want it? We can
Or
make this
like
work.
you could literally you could do a gauntlet race where it's like if you have to pit, you're done. You're eliminated. Anybody can win.
So you want it to be like a fuel mileage race to see who could stretch it the furthest?
Basically, or until the tires fall off.
Oh my god. You may have an idea there.
Hey, I mean, Tony Stewart brought up doing figure eight racing at Talladega, so
This is true.
anything's possible.
This is true. And I think that got a lot of traction.
I
I
think
mean,
it
look at
did.
what Talladega is now. It pretty much is figure eight racing.
Yeah. I mean, we have a figure eight racing pro that drives an ARCA anyway. So yeah. Shout out Braden Lester.
Oh yes. That is
Mr.
true.
Pizza.
That is true.
Good
Very
luck qualifying, our friend. We hope you make it.
Yep.
Friend of the show.
Yep. I think I expect shut up, Matt. It's strictly business.
Yes. This was a business decision. This was a loss we were willing to take.
Yes.
A major
So,
loss.
do you have any final point on the Bush series before we move on?
America loves nostalgia. Bring it back. Just bring it back. You know you want to come back. Let daddy come back.
I'd be good with the Bush Lights. I'd be good with Bush Grand National. I'd be good with Bush Light Grand National. Well, whatever.
Bush Ice Light.
Bush maybe the Bush Light Peach series.
Yeah. Or you know
Apple
what?
series.
I was about to say, let's really bring back what the people want.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Bush Light
Bring
Apple.
back the Apple.
So before we move on, I do have to do an ad read, Mr. Adam.
Yes.
We do have bills to pay here. Here at Above the Yellow Line. Let me make sure we get this up here. Let me finesse this onto the screen. I'm trying my best here. I'm trying my best here.
I hope I become the QR code again.
Taylor has been very adamant that Benzik Designs has incredible displays, and I 100% agree with her. Benzik Designs are reliable, sturdy, and game-changing 3D printed die-cast stands made for you. Benzik Designs is always working on new products to fit every die-cast lover's collection, from four-tiered stands to wall-mounted stands, hauler displays, and more. Use the promo on the screen, ATYL 2025, to get 20% off your order when you click the link in the description or visit our partners page on abovetheyellowline.com. I just did an ad read. I'm so proud of myself. Let me see if I can finesse a way to get this QR code on here. I probably just clicked the wrong one. Okay, there we
Ta-da.
go. So
There you
yeah,
go.
use the promo code ATYL 2025. Scan that QR code. Let's get some diecast stands in those
I
houses. It's going to make the cars
I
look
need to
great.
make an order like tonight. I have so many that are not on display behind me. So Benzik Designs, you might be getting a little DM from me because your brother needs some displays.
So yeah, I mean they do the ones that you see on the screen. They can do custom ones. I know Taylor is getting a special custom made one
It's
of an actual like tri-oval of a racetrack, kind of like Daytona. So I mean they do incredible things. Um, don't let your imagination run wild. I'm sure the folks at Benzik Designs can take care of it for you. It's just a really cool, new, imaginative way to display your cars in a way that, I mean, as you can see on the left, it's a good way to so you can see all of the car. So don't worry about things getting hidden or anything like that. It's a very good product. So scan the QR code, please. We beg you. We'll keep that up. We'll keep that QR code
oh
up for
yeah.
a Um, that's Taylor. So we can go into this now. Take a look at the forecast for Daytona weekend, brought to you by Race Weather. We're happy to partner with Race Weather to bring you forecast for the upcoming race weekend. So whether you're at home or at the track, you're prepared going into the race weekend. Friday and Sunday. Let's just go into it. Friday, scattered showers, high of 70 degrees, low of 66. So it's going to kind of just stay around the same temperature, but it looks like we might be dodging rain for Cup practice, Xfinity practice, and the Fresh from Florida 250 Craftsman Truck Race. We're going to have a great day Saturday, though, mostly sunny, 84. So the Busch Grand National Race will go on, which is, again, the United Rentals 300. Austin Hills looking for 4 consecutive. The last person to do that was Tony Stewart, uh,
Impressive.
2008 to 2011.
Phew, man.
So, yeah, what a run that was.
Yes.
And then Sunday, possible thunderstorms. So maybe we're racing to halfway on Sunday. We'll see. It says possible, so could just be pop-up stuff where it shows up for a little bit and then goes away. We're good the rest of the day. So fingers crossed that Sunday goes a little bit better. Um, but that is our forecast for race week.
If I looked at the forecast, it looks like those thunderstorms are early, so I think we'll be able to be. We might get to see all 500.
Gotcha.
Hopefully, hopefully. You know, you never say rain on race day, so don't say it,
Right.
guys. Don't say it.
Yeah. So hopefully we can.
Regardless, it's good to have. It's good to be back in Daytona. It's good to have the start of the season here. It's been a long couple weeks, couple months actually, since Phoenix. I know Phoenix kind of left us a little. Some of our hearts were hurting. Some of our hearts were just kind of blah. Some of our hearts were really full of joy, Mr. Dom. So yeah, it's just a great feeling. That's right. Threes up all day. It's just a good feeling to have NASCAR back for the
Yeah.
next 30 some 38
37
weeks.
weeks.
37 weeks.
Yep. It's going
The
to be
gauntlet
great.
begins.
Yeah, let the gauntlet begin. So now let's go ahead and move into our preview for the Daytona 500. And
Let's do it.
so I've had the Busch Series stuff on long enough. We do have qualifying tonight for the Daytona 500. And for those that don't know, the defending pole sitter for the Daytona 500 is Joey Logano. So yeah, we did just do a wardrobe change. I am still a fan at heart. I know I do media and I know I work for NASCAR, but I'm still a fan at heart. So this man right here, Joey Logano. Let's talk about his car. How sick the paint scheme is for this year. Yeah, the 500 car. It looked really good on track today. And he also, if you didn't see, he does have a matching fire suit to New Garden's shell fire
Oh,
suit.
really?
So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's hot. That's cool.
So yeah, they made sure that his fire suit also matched New Garden's fire suit. It was just perfect, chef's kiss, if you will.
So if he wins the 500 or a pole and they make a car, or if he doesn't do any of those two, is this going to be a pre-order?
So if he wins, well, yeah, I'll wait to see if he wins the. Obviously, if he wins the 500, I'm pre-ordering the car. Um, if he wins the duel, honestly, yeah, I'll probably pre-order the duel so it gets made. But um, I might honestly wait after the 500 because if he doesn't win the 500, then I'll pre-order the dual car
Nice.
to stack the odds. But yeah, here is the fire suit to match New Garden. So yeah, I mean it's very subtle, but I'm a big fan of it.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
but yeah, no, he's the defending pole winner, and I think the craziest thing I posted this on Threads. Um, he is the first non-Chevy driver to win pole for the Daytona 500 since what 2012, Carl Edwards.
Yes.
So yeah, it was Chevrolet all the way through, and it was Hendrick from 15 to 19, and then Hendrick again from 21 to 23.
Yes.
So Hendrick Motorsports is almost always a shoe-in for pole. But if we're going to narrow it down to saying that Hendrick wins pole, who do you think gets it tonight? Or do you have someone else in mind?
If it's going to be a Hendrick car, looking at trends, it's probably going to be Elliott, I think. But qualifying at Daytona is such a crapshoot, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Ah,
I mean, Joey was the first to say last year, like, I did nothing. This is just the guys
yeah.
working on the car.
Yeah, I mean, like if you get a gust of wind that helps you like down the backstretch, that's pushing your tail, and it doesn't affect you going into turn 3, you're gonna have a flying lap regardless. So I think whoever it's a giant guessing game.
For sure.
Uh hell, I'll go with my guy. I think Blaney gets the pole. I don't know.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
Yeah,
he did.
I'll go against the trends. I'll go
I
with
know
I'll
for
go with the
sure he
Ford.
was one of the guys that did single car runs in practice today. Him
Okay.
and Joey both did single car runs. I know they were pretty. I mean, last I saw, I didn't see the final results. I just saw Denny top the charts, but Joey was in the 20s. But again, just practice. But
Ford's either going to bring all their speed for qualifying tonight, or they're going to be at the back and they're just going to make their way through the duels. There's no in between for them. They're either going to be there or they're just going to they're not going to be there. Seems that every year there's a manufacturer that they just basically say, screw it, we're not going for pole. We're going for the big thing on Sunday. We're trying to get as many of our cars into the field Thursday night.
And I mean, we saw, I believe it was last year where I believe Toyota had an awful qualifying, but then
Yes.
swept the duels. Tyler
Yes.
Reddick, Christopher Bell. So, I mean, we've seen this happen before. We saw, I mean, when was the last time we saw a Hendrick car win their dual race? It was Byron in 2020. So, yeah, we saw Roush sweep in 2022 and then Logano and Almirola in 23. Yeah, they are very good on qualifying day, but then they are very much about get the front row so we don't have to worry about the duels, and then just protect the car. And speaking of that, this is something I totally forgot about. William Byron won the 500 in a backup car. I mean, he wrecked in his duel. So, yeah, forgot about that, didn't you?
Whoa. Dang, I did not realize that.
I wouldn't have remembered that if they didn't mention it in the broadcast today.
Oh my god.
So,
wow.
And
Yeah.
that also just goes to show you, like, even if you have a bad qualifying day, even if you have a bad duel, Daytona is the great equalizer. It really doesn't.
Right.
But this is still, if we're going to get on our high horse, we should have had this practice session Saturday, and then we should have qualified Sunday, and we should have had another practice today. We should have had the duel tomorrow, and then I'm good with the 2 practices, 1 Friday, 1 Saturday. I'm good with that. I'm glad we've got 2 more sessions after
Yeah.
Thursday.
More practice.
Um,
It's going to be a better product this year.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And, like, this is more so for other tracks, not like Daytona.
Yeah.
But like practice brings such great storylines to race weekend, especially like the number one example could be if, let's say, Josh Berry is the points leader. I'm just making a hypothetical here. Josh Berry's the points leader, and he goes out on the track and just has a nightmare moment, super loose off the corner, and you see him immediately pull into the garage. And then he comes back out on the track. The reporter says, "Yeah, obviously super loose, so they're working on it." He comes back on the track and is still not comfortable, still not. And then that just builds a storyline for Sunday where it's, well, listen, guys, points leader Josh Berry, he does not like his race car today, and that is just going to change the whole complexity of the points going into this weekend because now open opportunity because 21 team doesn't think they're going to have a good weekend. Huge door open for everybody else. Like that's the man. I could cry thinking about storylines like that. Like it's just the best. It's things, little things like that we take for granted in
It goes
practice.
back to the speed channel days when they
Oh
were
yeah,
telling stories from the garage during practice because there were stories that were happening.
right, for
It
sure.
wasn't just all right, go out and run a few laps. We're going to qualify. It doesn't matter. That's how it's felt now since COVID, the
Yeah,
COVID season. Well, heck, the COVID season was worse. It was show up and here's a metric. You're starting.
yeah. The metric system. God
Oh,
Almighty.
God Almighty.
Imagine trying the metric system in America. This ain't Formula One. This is the Super Bowl.
All right, gents, we're lining up 15th. What do you mean we're lining up 15th? That's what the metric system says. Oh my God. Yeah, no, yeah, I hope and pray we never have to use that again.
Yeah,
Never.
no, me either.
Uh-uh.
I don't think it'll ever come to that. I don't think the teams will ever let it come to that.
No, definitely
Here's
not.
a very good point from Ravaging Wolverine. Front Row Motorsports was very good last year. It was Michael McDowell doing most of the work,
Yeah.
but it was a combination. Front Row Motorsports and Ford Performance were very
Yes.
good last year in super speedways. Logano on pole for the 500. McDowell or Logano or McDowell got pole at Atlanta the next week.
McDowell.
And then McDowell kept getting poles at Talladega, Atlanta, Talladega, Daytona. So,
And just
maybe,
like for the top 10 qualifiers that advanced to that second round, it was like 8 of the 10 spots were all Fords.
yeah, for sure.
It
Uh,
was insane just how much power they were bringing for qualifying.
yeah, and I mean that could very easily be a strategy that Ford Performance said we are
Mhm.
sick of losing pole day at Daytona. We're sick of Chevy having all the spotlight. Uh, yeah, we know it doesn't usually translate to a 500 win for that car, but that's still a full day
Mhm.
weekend of Chevy won pole for the Daytona 500. It doesn't sound like a lot to a regular NASCAR fan, but if you're someone looking to buy a car and you see Chevrolet Daytona 500 pole winners 2013 to 2023, holy smokes. Okay, yeah, so they are very good at what they do. So little things like that. Obviously, I know win on Sunday, sell on Monday isn't what it used to be, but it's little things like that. Like I'm sure the folks at Ford are just as competitive as they were back in the day, and they will be the first to tell you, yeah, we don't like Chevy. We do not like Chevy. We're tired of watching them kick our butts on pole day because their bragging point is we're better than you in just outright speed by ourselves. And I know that doesn't sit well in that house.
Mm-mm.
And but then you got to think about how Toyota feels, where it's like, yeah, how do you think we feel? We're tired of this. We want pole for the
Yeah,
500.
we want change too.
So
I always
yeah,
feel like Toyota's always like the wild card when it comes to the manufacturers that are currently in NASCAR. They're
oh yeah,
just like the redheaded
the
stepchild.
outlier,
It's like they either don't get looked at or they're the spotlight.
right? Definitely.
Speaking of which, interesting this week talking about a fourth
Mhm.
OEM coming on board. What are your thoughts about that?
I would love to know who is in the running for it. Like I'd like to see if there's like a list of finalists. Obviously, I know that's
Mhm.
not how it works, but like it would just be interesting to know who they're talking to. But I 100% understand keeping it under wraps because you don't want unnecessary pressure to get put on a company or on NASCAR too. It's like because if they find out, it's like, well, why aren't they joining? What are you not doing right? I mean, the easiest one obviously is Honda.
Mhm.
I think having two American, two foreign would be cool. Because I think we're at the point now where I think Dodge and Chrysler are kind of out of the sedan business.
Yeah, they're almost out of the dinosaur juice business, if we're being
Yeah.
honest. So I would love to see a Dodge on track again, but it's
It
that
just
time
seems more and
time
more
passed.
unlikely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Honda, I don't see Nissan doing it. And it's like, I don't even see any of the European brands doing it. I really think the only one would be Honda. And it's just because their footprint in America is so massive.
It is.
Because first thing I think of is the giant Honda plant in Columbus, Ohio.
Yep.
So they're very big there, them and Acura. And again, like if we're gonna go between Acura and Honda, it's gonna be Honda
Yeah.
all day. They would have only brought Acura if Toyota brought Lexus.
Yep.
So, and it would just it would be cool to see a fourth manufacturer, but we did just fine with Chevy, Ford, Pontiac for a while. We've done pretty good with Chevy, Ford, Toyota. Um, but there's always that fourth team that doesn't bring a lot of cars, but damn, are they quick. that
It'd
was
be cool.
that was Dodge in the latter years.
That was
Because
Penske
Penske was like,
power.
I'm gonna make this my baby.
Well, I mean, and they went out. They went out on top.
Yep.
They won with Brad, and they managed the who was it that year? Then 22 was it?
So it started as AJ Allmendinger,
That's
ended
right.
as Sam Hornish
Cornish.
Jr.
That's right. We had our little accident or our accident in Daytona.
Yeah. And
Not a car accident, but other things.
who would have thought that would have ended up with Joey in the car too?
Seriously.
The mother of all lucky situations for Logano. Um, just
Yeah.
crazy because he was bound for the Busch Series had
Yeah.
that not happened.
He truly was. I wonder where would he have gone? Was he going to just get demoted from Joe Gibbs Cup to Busch?
I think they were probably just going to make him an Xfinity guy again.
Okay. So I know it
Which
was very murky at that time because it was kind of a lot of finger pointing going on. Where well, it's you or
yeah,
it's a car. It's this. So I thought he was just going to leave. Period. Which I mean he
a
did.
lot of people forget too that obviously Edwards went to Gibbs in 15, but in 2011, a lot of people thought Edwards was going to take the 20 from Joey
Hmm.
at the end of 11. So I think that was something people overlook, but it's kind of interesting to see that he did end up going to Gibbs,
Yeah.
Edwards, later on. He just saw the end of his contract out.
What was really interesting is that Dale Jr. could have been a Gibbs guy.
Yes, he could have.
And it was almost ink to paper certain it was going to happen.
Yeah.
That's a wild. That's just a wild rabbit hole to go down to.
Dale
Honestly,
Jr. in the 18. Man,
what
oh man.
insane. Yeah.
You would have thought. Here's a good one. Now, I'm only bringing this up because I'm sure you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking, and it's that if Cadillac does come to NASCAR, they will be the new Chevy
Yes.
because
Yeah. It won't be a separate.
GM would not let themselves compete against each other, and Chevy ain't making sedans anymore, but Cadillac is, so it fits the body. But my number one thing is you cannot have NASCAR without Chevrolet.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot. It's like, I know at the end of the day, it's the blue square, it's GM, it's all coming from the same place in Detroit.
Yep.
Take the badge off and put a different one on. But I mean,
it goes back to that loyalty factor. Win on Sunday, sell on Monday.
Exactly.
More people can buy Chevys than can buy Cadillacs.
And there are people that will go to the racetrack and buy just Chevy merch, not a driver or anything. They want just Chevy merch because they are team bow tie to the day they die. I would love to see Cadillac. I think I've seen the renderings of like people putting the CTSV on a
They're
cup
so
car.
cool.
It looks amazing,
Yes.
but realistically, for the health of the sport, you can't lose Chevy because it would be no in between. If you want both, you've got to pick one or the other. And I think at the end of the day, Cadillac can have IMSA. Chevy needs to be NASCAR.
Mhm.
Because I mean, listen, if you want to see Cadillacs race, the prototypes in IMSA are just they are
Ooh.
gifts. They are gifts from above.
Yeah, they truly are.
They are gifts from above that were stolen by the devil and
And they were
turned
doing bad, naughty things.
into monsters.
Yes.
So that is what Cadillac is right now. Which, by the way, quick side tangent. Are you aware? I don't know if you saw this today. I saw this because I run the Watkins Glen accounts. Corvette took the ZR1 to Road America, Road Atlanta, Watkins Glen, and VIR, and it broke every track record,
Jeez.
all production car track records. The ZR1 broke everyone at those tracks. It was 5 seconds faster than the record at Road America.
That-
And the teaser for it that they did, it just shows a close up of the Corvette badge, and the first guy says, "We created a monster." So
It's fitting.
yeah.
It's absolutely
Um,
fitting.
but anyways, I just don't think. And again, another thing too: do not make the Corvette the next gen body.
Oh, no, absolutely not. That would be
I am just barely accepting that the Supra is an Xfinity car. I am barely allowing them to put a trunk on a Supra.
no, I agree with you on that too. I mean, the Corvette is your no, it can't exist. It can't. Another thing too, I can probably almost just put to bed the whole Cadillac to NASCAR deal
Yep.
is because of what they're getting involved with now with Formula One.
Yes.
Because eventually they will
literally can't afford to do anything
Yeah,
else.
they can't. They're tapped out. They're about to build a mega facility in the Charlotte area on Rick Hendrick property. The only thing that's NASCAR related to that is that it's Hendrick property, but it's right next to one of GM's North American headquarters. So I mean, that's not for NASCAR. That's for a little different type of racing, if you will.
Absolutely. Well, we've got about 7 minutes to 8 o'clock. So let's go ahead and finish up with one last thing. And it is, I'm not going to ask you who your pick for the 500 is, but what do you expect out of this year's Daytona 500? And give your thoughts on what winning the 500 really does for a man's career.
For this weekend, just looking at trends of the past 500s with the this next gen car, and just how super speedway racing is minus Atlanta. I think it'll be orderly, somewhat calm, especially now that we're getting a lot of on track time that we haven't had. So teams are gonna be able to capitalize on making adjustments either throughout practice or being able to know, okay, when my car does this, this is how we were able to fix it and the car's right. Or it goes the complete opposite way. It just depends on your conditions. So I think we'll see it be fairly orderly until about 30 to go. The bell will start ringing. The belts will be getting tight and all chaos will eventually break out like it normally does. To your next point, winning the 500, it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because you can say, I'm a Daytona 500 winner. That's huge. Not everybody has that. There's Hall of Famers that don't even have a Daytona 500 victory to their name.
Tony Stewart and Mark Martin.
Yes. It took Dale Earnhardt 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration, and then he finally did it. I'm thinking about all the drivers right now who have been racing for 15, 20 years, and they still haven't got it. Didn't he? Well, no, he has. Sorry.
Yes,
he hasn't won a championship. That's a different story.
Kyle Busch.
Yeah, Kyle Busch. Great one. He's been close. He technically did win it a few years ago, minus a caution. I will stand on that hill and die. Yeah, it's a blessing, but here's the cursed part. Recently, it probably in the last 15 years, you win the 500 and then the rest of your season goes all downhill. That's the peak of your season. You're at the top of the mountain and then everything crumbles apart. I look back to Trevor Bayne. That was literally the highlight of his cup career, was winning the 500. Literally the next week, I think he crashed in practice and crashed in the race,
Wrecked out in
and he
Phoenix.
never could recover from that. So you get the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. So winning it, yeah, you got your pass to the playoffs for the season. You can goof off for the next 25 weeks if you choose to. I mean, you can be a little more strategic or ballsy, technically.
Mhm.
So it has its advantages, but it also has its curses. So it's like, I
Yeah,
would love to win one. I'll be honest.
yeah,
If that's my only win, yeah, sure. If I wreck every race after that, then I'm still a Daytona 500 winner. I just couldn't really do anything else. But hey, I got a Harley J Earl trophy back here. So yeah.
for sure. Yeah, the last person to win the 500 and then win the championship in the same year was Jimmy Johnson, 2013. So it has been some time, and and that just goes to show it does not always translate to a full season of success.
No.
We have seen guys win and then have that push them forward. Logano in 15, Earnhardt
Mhm.
Jr. 14, but then there's guys like Kurt Busch in 17, Austin Dillon in 18, Michael McDowell 21, Austin Cindric 22, Stenhouse 23, and then yeah, those five.
Yeah.
That was their only win of the season. Um, so yeah, I think the 500 in recent years has kind of gone to show that the first 100 and so laps is just stay in your line. No
Yep.
reason to race right now. And then we get one lap of craziness coming to the stage break, and then it all sorts itself out after that, and it kind of just all resets from there. And then the final 50 is when it kind of gets hectic, because now guys are realizing the sand in the hourglass is running out now, so we've got to go. But it's Daytona. This is the big dance. This is the one you want. It's not just for you, it's for your team, it's for your sponsors. Think about how bad Busch Light wants to win the 500, how bad Shell Pennzoil wants to win, how bad Exalta wants to go back to back.
Mhm.
It's there's so much riding on it, and it's just such a great race. It really hasn't lost its luster. As I know, people kind of get upset. Oh, we just have these crazy crashes at the end, and then we just have whatever you want to say, fluke winners, whatever. It's like we're not getting the prestige winners of the past. But I mean, listen, we had the Hendrick 24 win the Daytona 500 last year. That is epic. Um, we've we have we've gone into every year, and when the green flag flies and you just know it's Daytona. You
Mhm.
know it's the 500 because you're on pins and needles the whole race, even though you know nothing's going to happen right now. It's so big and it's just so awesome. But I think it's going to be a great race. I'm hoping Joey does well. I mean, that paint scheme's undefeated, but um yeah, other than that, I think it's going to be a great weekend. Hoping the weather cooperates
Yes.
for sure. But we'll get the show in one way or another. Don't worry about it. But now I'm going to use the next 15 minutes to talk about this organization. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to close this out the way Taylor wants it closed out. Well, we'll see. We had our Bush Series podcast today. The Spider Are Our Friends awareness stream is in the weeks and months and probably decades to come. That agenda is probably going to be pushed way out the window, but that's perfectly fine.
Not believing it's on the priority list.
Yeah, yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it getting top billing anytime soon. But listen, they are our friends. Just don't kill them. Just let them do their thing. If they're in your house, I get it. Just get them in a cup and chuck them out the window. I don't know. Do something. Don't let them die. But
I,
that is going to do it
I like the
for.
ones that are up in the corner in my room that like they eat the bugs and stuff. Like those,
Yes, they
those
are
are, I'm
doing
fine
a
with those.
service.
I am fine with those.
They're doing a
It's
service. They're
it's
here to help.
it's
They're
the
not.
ones that are like they have the humpback and stuff. No, no, Get the hell out of my house.
Yeah, when you can actually visibly see the fangs on a spider, I get it. I get it. But
No.
that is it for tonight's absolutely out of control above the yellow line live stream. We thank you, Taylor, for trusting us with your show, with your entire business. I think we did well. I'm sure we'll get a B grade, maybe less, but
Well, it would only be fitting if we got a C because, as we know,
oh,
C,
listen, I'll take a C all day.
C
How
is
do you
for
think I got through
Bush.
college?
C's get degrees, folks.
Listen, I start and parked my way out of college, so we'll take it. But yes, if you want more info on ATYL, check out abovetheyellowline.com. We are motorsports media your way. One more look, get your diecast displays from Benzik Designs. Again, use that promo code ATYL2025. You get 20% off of your order. Amazing displays for your 124 diecast. Super, super cool. And I was going to point this out. I think I pointed this out last week, but Benzik Designs, they're big RFK supporters based on that.
They're all in on the Ford, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but still super cool designs. And shout out to all of our partners, Benzik Designs on brand. Shout out Rob Branding for all the amazing graphics on Above the Yellow Lines pages, the Bright Mentality, and then Goat Locker Racing. That is going to do it for the Busch Series podcast, if you will. Our plead to NASCAR to bring back the Busch Series. It's Daytona 500 weekend. It's Daytona Speed Weeks. Watch qualifying. It's probably on right now. Cars are on track at 8:15. Let us know who you think's winning pole for the Daytona 500. Comment on the most recent post on Above the Yellow Line. Let us know who you think's winning pole for the 500. Check out the duels on Thursday night. Friday night is the Fresh from Florida 250. Saturday is the United Rentals 300. And then Sunday, the Great American Race, the Daytona 500.
Woohoo!
Make sure you watch it. And don't forget, please don't forget, spiders are our friends.